Alright, today I'm going to talk about deer hunting over persimmons, or around persimmon trees. A lot of y'all probably know what they are, what they look like, or have heard of them. This is the fruit. Now when they're ripe, they're very soft, so they just break apart easily with your fingers. And they're edible. They actually taste pretty good, but you want to make sure they're completely ripe, because they're a bit unpleasant to eat when they're not all the way ripe. Don't ever eat a green one or even an orange one that's hard. This one, very, very sweet flavor. They're actually good. The seeds are brown, kind of shaped like beans, brown, flat, shiny seeds. And you'll see those all over the ground where raccoons have processed them or deer spat them out or whatever happens to them. The leaves look like this. These have got black specks all over them. I don't know what that's called, but normally they're just solid green, smooth, got a smooth edge, smooth surface. When they grow in the full sun, I think they get a little bit more of a shiny finish. These were in partial shade, so they're a little bit more of a dull finish, but they're arranged opposite on the stem, and after a while you kind of see what they look like, and they just kind of stick out as persimmon trees. Very basic looking leaves. The bark is either dark brown or more commonly almost a charcoal gray. With it's furrowed kind of like a walnut, but it's also somewhat checkered looking. Sometimes more so than others, the bark almost has a checkered look to it. And that makes it stand out from other trees pretty easily. It's pretty easily distinguishable by the bark. Not all trees produce fruit. You got male and female trees. The male ones don't produce fruit, they just produce pollen. So some trees won't ever have anything. Some of them will drop every year. Sometimes they'll have a bumper crop, sometimes you only have just a handful. A lot of people seem to really like deer hunting around persimmons. A lot of people will say, you know, it's deer candy. If you find persimmons, you better be hunting them. Other people will say deer won't touch them until after the frost hits them. And I don't know if there's truth to that or not. I really don't have enough experience watching them after and before the frost. I've only hunted over persimmons a handful of times, because what I've noticed from my personal experience, certain persimmons the deer will hammer, and certain persimmons they don't seem to eat. Maybe they'll eat them after the frost, maybe they'll eat them when the acorns are gone, I don't know. But here in October, during bow season, early season, when the first persimmons start dropping, you want to definitely keep an eye out for deer sign, because sometimes when they are eating them, they're usually hammering them. So obviously you look for your usual deer tracks. You want to look for fresh deer droppings. If you find multiple piles of droppings underneath a persimmon tree with fruit on the ground, you better be climbing that tree or climbing a tree nearby. When you find that deer sign, that fresh deer sign and fresh ripe persimmons, that's definitely worth hunting in my opinion. Just finding persimmons to me is not good enough, because the deer aren't always going to be eating them. So next time you are out in the woods and you notice the tree with that distinct charcoal looking bark, where you smell, sometimes you smell them before you see them, and you look down and you see big bright orange ripe fruit on the ground, and you start seeing some deer sign, you better start looking around and picking your tree that you're going to climb, and make sure the wind is good. You don't want it blowing back into where the deer bedded. That's the kind of setup I'd like to go and hunt as soon as possible when I find it, because it's not going to be around for too long. They're only going to be eating there while they're fresh, and then they're either going to stop falling or the deer's going to eat them all up, or whatever may happen. Well, I hope this helped y'all in one way or another. I'd like to see some discussion. If you want to comment on your experience or your opinions, anything I left out about hunting around persimmons, tell me what you've seen, how it works for you, and hopefully I will have some more tips on hunting food sources here in the near future. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.